Okay, great. So tonight is our members meeting, and we have a lovely article. I'm really excited about this article. Pablo Maniti, thank you so much for sending it our way for us to study it. If you guys don't mind, there were some floating things in my head that I didn't have answers to, so I looked them up and I put them in a PowerPoint, just quick 4 slides. And by no means, I did Google search for some of it. I looked at the Theosophical Glossary. I looked up something HPB wrote. So this is not set in stone. If anybody has anything else to say about it, please, please, please speak up. So here we go. All right. So first thing I wanted to know, I was really interested in that the Kabbalah was started so late, and I didn't understand that. And so that was one of the things I was looking at. So from our study last week, this came out of Robert Elwood's explanation. So one form of Jewish mysticism called the Kabbalah had its supreme expression in the Zohar, or the Book of Splendor, probably composed within a developing tradition by Moses de Leon about 1275 AD. Based on finding deeper allegorical meanings in the words and letters of the Hebrew Torah that point to metaphysical realities, it held that God in himself is infinite and incomprehensible, but his attributes provide windows of insight into the divine majesty as it relates to humanity. In Kabbalah, certain basic attributes of God drawn from the scriptures are arranged into patterns of male-female polarities and put on different levels in the hierarchy of spiritual things, the Kabbalistic tree or the tree of life. Meditation on their dynamic interaction provides a subtle and often profound spiritual path. So I thought that would at least kind of get us started on our discussion for today. Okay. And then HPB from the Theosophy Wiki defines Kabbalah as the ancient Chaldean secret doctrine, abbreviated into Kabbalah. And there's many different spellings. There's Q, it begins with a Q, begins with a K and 2 B's and an H at the end, and a C. It's also spelled with C, so it's spelled many different ways. I found in one of the websites I looked up, what did it say? If you ask 2 Jews their opinion, you'll get 3 different ones. So that kind of made me think of that. So, all right, so this is an occult system handed down by oral transmission, but which, though accepting tradition, is not in itself composed of merely traditional teachings, as it was once a fundamental science, now disfigured by the additions of centuries and by interpolation by the Western occultists, especially by Christian mystics. It treats of hitherto esoteric interpretations of the Jewish scriptures and teaches several methods of interpreting biblical allegories. Originally, the doctrines were transmitted from mouth to ear only, in an oral manner from teacher to pupil who received them. Hence the name Kabbalah, or Kabbalah, from the Hebrew root QBL, to receive. Besides the theoretical Kabbalah, there was created a practical branch which is concerned with the Hebrew letters as types alike of sounds, numbers, and ideas. And then the Zohar. So the Zohar, which actually means splendor or radiance, is the foundational work in the literature of Jewish mystical thought known as Kabbalah. It is a group of books, including commentary on the mystical aspects of the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, and scriptural interpretations, as well as material on mysticism, mythical cosmogony, and mystical psychology. The Zohar contains discussions of the nature of God, the origin and structure of the universe, the nature of souls, redemption, the relation of ego to darkness and true self to the light of God, and the relationship between the universal energy and humanity. And that was from the Theosophy Wiki also. Does someone have a question, comment? Okay, so then this last part, so then I was like, okay, what's the difference between the Torah, and I had heard the Talmud and the Zohar. So this I did a Google search for. There's the written Torah and the oral Torah. So the written Torah consists of 5 books of Tanakh, which is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And then Adele, say it again. How do you say Tanakh?
I'm not. Is Adele here? Because I may have said something.
I am here. I'm here. I'm not the expert on pronunciation. Is Francine here? The way you're saying it is the way that I've heard it.
Okay, thank you.
But people in different languages say it also differently, so you have to be sort of open to hearing it a little differently too.
Right, great. So we love open-mindedness.
By the way, since you did ask if I was here, I just want you to know that the Ojai retreat has the whole collection of those Zohar books.
Oh,
in their quiet room.
Okay, very good to know.
Yeah.
Very good to know. Okay, so this Tanakh is what is otherwise known as the Hebrew Bible, and consists of law, which governs life, prophets and writings, which is there to understand the nature of God. Then there's the oral Torah, and it was always an oral tradition, except when the persecution began. So then they felt they needed to write it down. So originally, they wrote down the laws of agriculture, festivals, damages, marriage, purity, and offerings in code form. And this was called the Mishnah. Then when they were persecuted again, they wrote down a 60-volume record of rabbinic discussions on the Mishnah, which is called the Gemara. So the Talmud is then the Mishnah, which is the teachings, and the Gemara, which is the discussions. Then the Zohar is the old Torah, includes the work of the Kabbalah. It's the mystical secrets of the metaphysical universe received by Moses as at Mount Sinai. First published as the Zohar in 170 AD, and then elucidated in 1572 AD. I forgot, and I apologize, the first guy's name in 170 AD, but the Moses de Leon is the one who did the elucidation in 1572. Okay. And then I just looked up these 2 things, and Ein Sof, the one principle was this is from the Theosophical Glossary, was an abstraction like Parabrahman to moderate Kabbalists. To modern Kabbalists, it's the supreme God of it and nothing higher. But to the earlier Chaldean Kabbalists, it was without form or being. So we have that, which God are you talking about, like in Gnosticism?
Uh-huh.
So then Adam Kadmon is known as the archetypal man, humanity, the heavenly man, not fallen into sin, which we could call the monad. the manifested logos, or the third logos. Keep this right here loosely because I don't know that we'll have time to go in it today, but we could possibly hold it over until next week. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, any discussion, questions, modifications, corrections, additions to what I just rapidly went through? I hope it was helpful. Okay.
It is helpful because I think a lot of people don't know the difference between the Torah, the Talmud. They really don't know what's being talked about. So I think it was good that you did that, Michelle.
Oh, thanks. Okay, are we ready to go on to the article? Okay.
Yes.
Before we go on to the article, does anybody have any thoughts or inspirations or an introduction into the article that they'd like to share before we go? Or while I'm pulling that up? Okay. Alrighty, this is the one I want. Okay. All right.
Oh, here we are.
So, all right, so Personal Glimpses, this was out of the Quest magazine, features a more personal look at the spiritual practices of Quest authors. Edward Hoffman is a licensed clinical psychologist in New York City area and an author of 11 books in the fields of psychology, spirituality, and Jewish mysticism. So he starts with the quote, "Just as the physical body needs nourishment to grow, so does the soul." And that's from the Zohar. And is there anybody who would like to start reading? And we'll just read the first 3 paragraphs as an opening.
Okay.
It's pretty small.
Oh, is it that small? Okay.
I can see it. I
read
can see it. So I can read.
That's better.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Adele. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. For nearly the past 20 years, my study of the Kabbalah and its relevance for the contemporary world has been important to me. Through the lens of modern psychology, which is my chief field of academic training and vocation, I've been explicating Jewish mystical teachings for people of diverse faiths and backgrounds. As a writer, therapist, and educator, the task has been most enjoyable, continuing to challenge and excite me. When invited to share something about my own spiritual life, I felt it appropriate to draw upon a key feature of this esoteric tradition, namely the tree of life.
Go ahead.
For many centuries, adepts have taught that in order for the universe to exist, 10 channels of divine energy emanated from God, called the Ein Sof, or infinite in Jewish mysticism. As the early medieval text known as the Sefer Yetzirah, Book of Creation, tersely relates, 10 sefirot alone, 10 and not 9, 10 and not 11, understand with wisdom and search among them. Know, think, and visualize.
Okay. And finish up the last paragraph.
These 10 sefirot, or energy essences, traditionally have been depicted in various diagrams, the most favored being the tree of life, and are associated with a huge array of attributes and symbols, including colors, musical notes, and the organs of the human body. Since Kabbalists teach that the external world and our inner world comprise and inviolate unity, it's useful to examine our personal lives from this cosmic perspective. in thereby presenting the tree of life as a personal map for self-reflection, perhaps I may encourage others to do likewise. And if I could just comment on one thing, when you look at the tree of life and you see the crown, the keter, that's reaching out to heaven. And when you look at the bottom, Malkuth, that's the roots in the ground. And both are necessary, the roots in the ground and the reaching out to heaven. I've always found that quite beautiful.
Okay, thank you, Adele. So take a look at the tree here. And then if you didn't print out to look at it there, we'll kind of just zip back and forth so we have an idea of where we're talking about. So he's going to start with the keter, and then he's going to go to the, I think it's the chokmah, and then to the bina. So he'll talk about those three to begin with. Okay, any other comments before we start reading, or is there someone else who would like to read this next longer paragraph?
I'll read it. Yeah. Now, where is the paragraph?
Okay, right here, light from 10 spheres.
Okay. The tree of life's roots originate in the transcendental world and its energies. And its energies manifest downward into our familiar everyday realm. For this reason, it's appropriate to begin with the keter crown, the highest sephirot. So lofty has it been regarded that later generations of Kabbalists have sometimes elevated keter out of the sephirotic arrangements altogether. Closest to the Ein Sof's realm, keter involves transcendental awareness beyond all sense of selfhood, personal existence, and verbal description. In my life to date, I cannot claim to have ever fully experienced this level, but I am grateful for occasional glimpses, that is, what Kabbalists identify as reflections or reflections of the supernal radiance. I'm sure that such numinous experience, I can't see it, lies at the core of the great spiritual traditions and also defies our wisest efforts at comprehension. For this reason, Kabbalists have venerated the trait of faith, for no amount of rational analysis will eliminate mystery from keter. And
Okay, so let me see. I wanted to stop right there. Okay, go ahead and finish this paragraph.
keter by extrapolation from the tree of life's entirety. Perhaps because of my strong religious upbringing, I've always been comfortable with faith and its recognition of mystery around us.
Okay.
Peter, oh, want me to stop there? No. Peter Keter on the right. Oh, I don't know what happened.
No. So we're going to stop there. All right. So now we're talking about what's up here at the top, the keter or keter.
Keter, and it's also chokmah. The ch is pronounced like chokmah.
Chokmah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So this is what he's talking about. And does anybody have any comments?
Oh, good.
Well, say there, go ahead, Dana.
I have a question. Keter, so we're talking about a state of being. In other words, it's not, it almost sounds like it's a state of being, not God, but a state of being. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's describing that it's not God. It's a state of being that you try to strive for, a divinity, a level, a divineness that you try to strive for. Or maybe I'm reading into it something, or I'm.
Nope. Stop right there. That's a perfect explanation. I would say, yeah, that
well,
is.
In theosophical terms, it would correspond to Atman.
Right.
There are many.
I think HPB's terminology is helpful. She would call it beingness, not
Okay.
being,
Yeah.
but beingness.
Okay.
Elena, did you have something to say?
Yeah, there are many terms that have been given to Keter. It could be divine or ultimate unity, or the first logos, the unmanifested logos, basically, the one source of all. It's represented by the central point in the circle, as in the secret doctrine. Sometimes it's called the Godhead, or Brahman, or the Om.
Thank you. That's what it was. So it's the difference between the Godhead and the God in Christianity. When we were talking earlier about Adam Cadman, no.
Michelle?
All these principles can be interpreted cosmically or at the level of a human being, or even a planet. So Ein Sof is that which is beyond, like Parabrahman, if we talk about the cosmos, and Keter is like the highest that is below Parabrahman.
Doug, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that although there are lines going all over the place to the different sephirots, the energy flows in a certain zigzag, call it a zigzag pattern. I mean, I believe it goes from Malkuth to Yesod, then it goes to Had, Netzach, Tefereth, Gevurah, Chesed, I think Bina, Chokma, and then Kether, and it's, I think, just called the lightning bolt, if I remember right. And that's the way the energy flows up and the way it flows down. It just doesn't, all the other ones, I believe, are just showing, the lines are showing the interrelationships between the properties in the various sephirots or the various spheres.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So
Right.
like Pablo said, the tree of life can be used to represent the way the universe came into manifestation, starting from number one, Keter, and then all the way down to Malkuth. At the same time, it could also be used to represent ourselves, our principles, with the 7 below and then 3 in the Arupa planes.
Okay. So what this article is doing is, and we can think about this, what the article is doing is he's using it as a description for us. So if we want to, we can carry this discussion on to next week and discuss it and use it as discussion for the manifestation of the universe. That's just an idea, or we can, just continue. So it sounds like we all pretty much have a grasp of Keter. So would somebody like to read the second paragraph about Bina? Oh, and Chokma?
No, it's first.
Chokma.
I'll go ahead and read.
Thank you.
In daily life, I often experience the lightning.
Rosanna, one more up. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Below Keter,
Correct.
on the right and left respectively, are Hokmah, wisdom, and Bina, understanding. These sefirot correspond to qualities of active and receptive intelligence, respectively. Directly below Keter is a shadow vessel of energy known as Dayat, knowledge. It has often been depicted as an intermediary among the sefirot above it and may be understood as the synthesis between these aspects.
Go ahead and read the next pair. Oh, go
If
ahead.
you
Sorry,
go
Pablo.
to, I don't know, because that is not shown in the tree of life, but the idea is that it would be, how do you see the
It would
arrow?
be, can you see right here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you annotate.
Okay. So
How does it shown with the dotted lines?
It's not on like both. Something like that.
Draw? No.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's okay. But
Yeah, sorry.
it's there, you know, like below the first triad. Sometimes they put it like in dotted lines. It's like a hidden sefirot.
I'll find an image. I have one.
Okay, good.
Okay, do you want to share it?
If I can find it, go ahead first and
Oh,
we'll go
okay.
back.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, all right, Rosanna, do you want to finish? Rosanna, do you want to finish with in daily life?
Sure. In daily life, I often experience the lightning flash of Chokmah associated with peak experience and revelation through meditation. That is, gaining metaphysical insight and clarity by focusing inwardly on particular symbols, musical tones, or sacred images. As the Hasidic master Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav astutely observed, meditation is essential for our personal well-being. Even mainstream medical research now confirms the host of emotional and physical benefits reaped from regular meditation practice. Lately, I've been developing an approach to visual meditation based on the Hebrew alphabet and have recently completed a book on this intriguing topic. For many years, I've also found dreams a wellspring of personal guidance. I also incorporate dream work in my psychology practice.
Why don't you go ahead and read about the Bina involves?
Bina involves processing and integrating revelation. And for me, the acts of reading, writing, and discussing mystical ideas are always stimulating. Commuting into Manhattan twice a week, I get a lot of reading done on the train. Religion, biography, history, and cross-cultural studies most interest me, as do metaphysically charged movies and TV programs such as Contact, Star Trek's Voyager, and Sliders. If the Hasidic founders could impart mystical truths by means of imaginative tales, then our media-dominated society ought certainly do likewise through high technology.
Okay, let's go back here and look at, so we were looking at the upper triad where we said Keter was Atman, Bina would be Budi, and Chokmah would be Manas. Any further discussion?
Well, the reason, because, you know, Chokmah as wisdom, we could think that could be Buddhi, but Bina is feminine, is the female aspect, and Buddhi is also the female aspect. So
right, and Bina is understanding, so it could be like an innate understanding of things.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
You want a picture?
Yes, we do. I think I have to stop.
No, you just click on where my image is. There are 3 dots, and then you can say make co-host or something like that.
Right, right. I don't need to make you a co-host. I think you can, I let anyone share. So,
Okay.
yeah, I just had to stop sharing first. So go ahead and share.
Oh, okay, I lost my, I lost my Zoom.
I'll go back and get it.
Oh, you know what? Here, this was the other. How about this one?
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is.
So this was the other attachment I
Right.
sent. So yeah. This is the dot, which shows in the middle. The
Okay,
dot.
yeah.
In the middle. Yeah. So, okay. All right. Are we ready to go on? Does anyone have anything else? All right, here we go. Oops. Let me get that down. All right. Okay, so we just did the upper triad, so now he talks about the lower triad. So if anyone, or the second triad, so if anyone would like to start reading.
I can read.
Thank you.
The second triad composes chesed, mercy, on the right, gevurah, literally strength, but also called din, meaning judgment, opposite it, and tiferet, beauty, centered below them. Chesed and gevurah encompass the realm of emotions, typically involving our day-to-day relationships. My work as a practicing psychologist in New York City brings me into close interaction with people of diverse ethnic, religious, and socioeconomic backgrounds, and helps to strengthen chesed, compassion, altruism, and kindness for me. Likewise, by offering therapeutic guidance and direction for change to others, my qualities of gevurah are activated. My family life, involving my wife and 2 sons, as well as parents, brother, and close friends, also is a key domain for developing the unique energies of chesed and gevurah. Want me to continue?
Yes.
Okay. Situated at the Tree of Life Center is Tiferet, comprising the realm of spiritual beauty that is aesthetics. For Kabbalists, aesthetic experience through music, literature, or the visual arts can lead powerfully to the divine. On my mother's side, I come from generations of cantors and musicians, and music's always been a vital spiritual force in my life. I play several instruments, though only the flute at all regularly, and a life without music seems almost unthinkable to me. My tastes are highly eclectic, encompassing classical, jazz, folk, rock, and world music. And lately, I've been especially drawn to Spanish Latino music.
Okay. All right, so here he's talking about the second triad, the strength, mercy, and beauty, or spiritual beauty, which can be likened to the astral plane. Any other insights?
So the crown and the keter, the tiferet, and then the foundation, which are all in the center in line. Is that kind of a building? You start with a foundation, you develop spiritual beauty, and then you, or those are just, because they seem like they have direct connection to the crown. If I'm looking at lines.
Yeah.
Right. I think they all, you know, they're all interrelated. But Doug, didn't you say something about the lightning bolt?
Yeah, the energy passes down from Kether to Bina to Chokma. Some include that other sphere in the middle.
Right.
Goes to the, basically left to right. I believe the connecting lines, the primal focus I thought was the energy, and the next level down are the connecting lines which talk about the attributes. I believe above Gevurah and Chesed, if my memory is right, that's like the part that we can't access. It's just, we have no conception of it, and our minds can't go to that level. Like Atma, we just can't deal with that level of consciousness. And then as you come down, like you said, you go through the astral and you go through the physical, ultimately ending in, Earth at Malkuth.
Now, they do talk about 3 pillars: the pillar of Bina, the pillar of Chokmah, and then you have what they call the middle pillar. That is what Dana was Dana was mentioning. And some people say that that's a special pillar. I don't remember. I studied this, when I was in Argentina like 20 years ago. But there is a whole book about the middle pillar, which can be used for raising consciousness in meditation or something. But I don't remember.
Could it be something like we talk about in Theosophy as a bridge, or the third in a duality?
Yeah. I mean, they have like special meditations associated with it, and that is also part of it. So it has some importance, that pillar in particular.
Oh, okay.
It's a balance. It's the pillar of balance. It balances the pairs of opposites on the right side and the left side. It's a pillar for achieving harmony between the powers of force and the powers of form.
Yeah. I think the left side was feminine and the right side masculine.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember right.
It is drawn differently in the article. Usually Bina is on the right side when we're looking at the picture. And the reason for that is it's supposed to be you. So your left shoulder is Bina. And your right shoulder is Chokmah. And the way it's drawn here, Bina it's supposed to be like you're looking outside of the paper, but so it's wrong. I think they made it for our convenience, but if you look at all the books, Bina is always where Chokmah is.
Okay.
I think Gevurah and Hesed are your shoulders, and Tiferet is your heart, because that upper triad is not of the body. That's above. It's above the body.
Okay.
That's a realm above our
Right.
our physical,
Right. I think there's a line there called the line past not. I remember right.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to go down to the next triad. Second. All right, we are going to start with the Tree of Life's third triad. Any readers?
I can read that one.
Thank you.
The Tree of Life's third triad is composed of, is it Netzach? Netzach. Victory on the right, Had, glory on the left, and Yesod, foundation in the middle. In human terms, Netzach and Had encompass the realm of sensuality, especially in terms of what we take into our bodies by food, beverage, exercise, and other forms of physical but non-sexual pleasures such as massage and athletic activity. Though hardly an aesthetic, I've rarely experienced this domain as a pathway to the divine, and perhaps this reflects my own soul's makeup. Conversely, since early adolescence, I've been clearly able to see the power of Yesod, whose originating point is sexual energy. The first book I co-authored was about the work of psychiatrist Wilhelm Reich, the sexual revolutionary, and while I believe he overemphasized the importance of the sexual drive for human fulfillment, the Kabbalistic perspective likewise affirms human sexuality as a powerful force and a fundamental element of the tree of life.
All right, let's go back here. So we're at Had, Netzach, and Yesod. Any comments? Insights? Question?
when he talks about victory and glory, or when it ascribes the terms victory and glory, foundation, I don't understand how they get to.
What is that?
Well, I know in the other tree that I sent, instead of glory, it has written here surrender. And so my question would be, are these terms fluid? Are they, different in different books, different interpretations? I mean, those of you that have studied this, is that what you find? Or are they pretty solid in?
The ones I've seen have been pretty solid, but I only looked at a couple different sources. But the thing when I studied it was a long time ago, 30 years. The thing I really liked about it was very analytical, meaning it was like layering plates on top of each other. You could take the tree of life diagram and you could lay a plate on top of all the circles that gave you all of the relationships to the planets. And you can lay one on there that maybe talked about different attributes, male attributes, and then maybe, and so you could build an understanding between, and the lines that aren't the main energy flow line show the relationships between those, the secondary level down. It was just easy to, at least at that time, it was easy to learn, this particular vehicle.
I believe glory or Had is thinking or thoughts, and victory netzek is feelings.
Yep.
So you have the relationship between your thoughts and your feelings.
Right.
Yeah. So they say like glory of the mind, victory of emotions.
Ah.
All right. Now, Elena, and just so Elena, is that common knowledge, or where do you find your information?
Oh, there's like Kabbalah books.
Okay. I mean, that's general Kabbalah books. And that was my question to Doug and Rosanna too, is this, and I believe I heard Francine talk, or no, maybe she didn't. So is this common study in the study of the Kabbalah or in Kabbalah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the books I used use the same, 2 or 3 books use the same terminology, different sources.
Okay.
Pablo had his hand up.
Pablo Maniti, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to say that there are few books. One of the good and interesting one is the Kingdom of the Gods by Geoffrey Hudson. Why? Because he explained in very simple way the meaning of each sefirot and the relation with theosophy. The other book is The Holy Kabbalah by Arthur Edward White, which is mostly to explain the Jewish Kabbalist. So I recommend that if we want to mostly understand the meaning of the part of the tree of life, this is very helpful. And also in the Secret Doctrine, in the page 200, volume 1, there is a lot of the use of the comparison between the Kabbalistic and the other philosophy or religion. So this is very interesting. The other thing is also to do what this doctor talk is we had to work with the tree of life and also color ourselves and give it the colors we maybe go more with our instinct or whatever we feel. I think that is what I would like to say. Thank you.
No, thank you, Pablo. That will be very helpful. So let's, unless there's anybody else, let's
Can
finish.
Can he repeat the name of the second book?
Pablo?
Oh, yes.
What's the name of the second book? The first one was The Kingdom of God by Hudson.
Yes.
Second one was what?
The Holy Kabbalah by Arthur Edward White.
Okay, but it's.
That would be Waite,
Yeah,
W-A-I-T-E.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's probably AE.
AE.
Yeah, AE, he goes, I've seen him as abbreviations, AE Waite.
Yeah, he did a lot with
It's a
art. He's
W
the one that drew the
W-A-I-T.
Okay, okay. All right, so.
And what was Pablo Center saying?
Say it again, Elena.
You muted, Elena.
What was Pablo Sender saying?
He's the guy that drew the tarot cards.
Yeah. The famous tarot cards that are used, like the original tarot cards, are by him.
I wait.
Yeah.
Deck.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we have it. Yeah, over here. Okay. So I will go on and finish up. Finally, the Sefirot of Malkuth kingdom completes the structure. This energy essence encompasses the natural world, plants, animals, ecology, and in the largest sense, Gaia. Kabbalists teach that each of us resonates inwardly to nature and that we harbor secret sensitivities unrecognized by mainstream science today. I grew up in New York City neighborhood, almost devoid of nature's touch. And when at 16, I enrolled at Cornwall University in the Finger Lakes region of New York State, I experienced its pastoral beauty as almost a divine revelation. Since then, I've come to know well that my soul needs nourishment through the contact with nature. And lakes and streams, pond inlets, and other bodies of water are especially uplifting for me. As true for the tree of life's other sefirot, the realm of Malkuth provides a spiritual map of the cosmos and my soul's own constellation within it. As the 13th century Zohar encouragingly affirms, just as the celestial stream flows on forward without ceasing, no man must see that his own river shall not cease in the world. Okay. Any last comments about the drawing here?
Flows on forever. Well, forward and forever, I guess, could be the same, but forever does have a slightly different meaning.
Okay.
Yeah. That was Cornell University. It's beautiful. If you ever visit up there. Cornell. Where he's talking about the nature, beauty.
Okay, sorry, almost lost power. Sorry. Okay, let me, do we have, let me do this first. Sorry, okay. Are there any last comments, inspirations, thoughts, something that jumped out at you before I turn off the recording and we can decide what to do for next week? Yes, Pablo. Oh, you need to unmute. Yep, there you go.
you know, Stephen Heller, he wrote a little book which first started as a 1973 as a lectures on meditation using the Kabbalah. And so the meditation is about the go to the 22 path and meditate on each one. And so he then published the book, and it was published by Quest, and the title is the Royal Road, I think.
The Royal Road.
And it's very interesting because Edward White also designed a deck of cards based on the Kabbalistic signs. So the more important thing is through the Kabbalah, we learn to read or interpret the signs. So through meditation is a beautiful way to even find out about ourselves, or like when we are in any of the station, the sefirot, we can feel the beauty of the universe, or the beauty, like this Dr. Hoffman says, about being in contact with the nature. Feel like you are in the paradise. It's something we experience every day here in Crotona, being in contact with the trees, the animal, listen the wind, all these kind of things which we don't have in the city. So we are close to Keter. And so that when but we are very much in the lower part in Malkuth. So that is the lower. So we have to transcend all this limitation on each one and get to this beautiful world of these ancient teachings. We don't know from where they come, but anyway, we are not so sure who was the one who compiled, but are for us to study and to meditate. Thank you.
Thank you, Pablo. I imagine when you were saying that we're in the Keter of the Malkuth. The Keter of Malkuth. Just like we have subplanes within planes, maybe they have sefirot within sefirot. Now we have a question here. Why is the symbol of the tree used to describe this noetic reality? Anyone?
I thought that traditionally it's used to represent reaching from heaven to earth. I mean, the roots and everything are in earth, and the branches move up towards heaven. And, you know, the macrocosm, the microcosm, and it connects the two, because Kether is, you know, the highest of the divine that you can go, and you know, the roots are down in the physical earth.
Yeah, partly they also take, because in Genesis, there are two trees mentioned in paradise, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. So I think they are taking that symbolism for this.
Elena, you had something, or you had your hand up?
Actually, the tree of life.
Pablo, you need to mute, and Elena, you unmute.
You're muted.
Usually the tree of life is symbolized as a tree that's upside down with the roots in heaven.
Right, and so the roots, I'll finish your thought for you, I think you were, so the roots, as it said in this article, were the keter. So that's where the roots came from, and then we grow
The
the
manifestation.
manifestation, or the, what do you say, the descending arc in Theosophy down, and then the ascending arc back. So is there anybody who works with plants as their daily work that might have any comments?
Laser.
Boy, are you subtle.
Two of them. Go ahead, Jerry.
No, my question was sincere. I think that's the cool thing about the symbols, is that I think anybody can respond to them. It doesn't require, some degree. It's just, it's intuitional in a way. So everybody's comments were helpful. But the one thing I can add that might be valuable to what's been said before is that one thing that's not known about trees, and not commonly knows about trees, is that there's just as much of the plant's overall girth is under the ground. So there's a correspondingly equal, if not larger, amount of the tree that's hidden than there is above ground.
Right.
So whatever you see, there's more underground. And there's this beautiful exhibit in Redding, California, where they actually took a juvenile sycamore and painstakingly, almost like an archaeological dig, and extracted it from the earth. And then they brought it into a natural history museum and dug an enormous pit and placed it down into the pit so that the roots are exposed, so there's no soil around them. And they suspended it with a plexiglass cover over the top, so you can look down into it. And it really gave you a feeling for just how much is hidden. And then I think that backs up what several other people were saying about this relationship between heaven and earth and the unmanifest and the manifest. The tree is a great symbol for that. So
Jerry, were the roots being fed?
No.
Oh.
No, they kind of, tried to preserve it. The leaves are all gone. The tree was dead, of course.
Jerry, have you noticed lately the arborists are trimming trees in a different way, or is it my imagination? They're clipping it straight down the top, just denuding the top of the tree. It's just straightly cut across, all along the highway and also up here on in my park here. And I thought that would be not good for the tree. I mean, the tree expands at the top and grows upward. And I was wondering what they're just doing that to delay the growth of the tree. Do you know anything about that?
Well, I don't know if this is the time and the place for that, but
well, I thought it was since you're talking about the tree extending, the way it ascends. And
well, I'll say this is that the quality of pruning a tree is somewhat analogous to the quality of hairdressers. They're not all the same.
Okay, thank you.
Dana, thank you, Jerry. Dana, did you have any plant analogies, tree analogies that came to you? We don't want to forget our other plant master.
No, that was a good analogy. It is true. The root is definitely, we underestimate how important the root structure is, the foundation upon which the tree can either grow or not. So I guess it has something to say to make sure your foundation is really good. If you have a really good foundation, which is your roots underground, then your tree will grow. And it will grow beautifully and healthy and develop into, up toward Keter.
That would be the lasting.
Okay.
Those of us who were attending Professor Krishna's seminar on Mondays, he just mentioned this week, yesterday, about that scientists were following the how trees, if one tree is in trouble, the other trees will send nourishment underground, obviously, to the roots, that there is a sense of compassion or some kind of altruism or help to the tree that is in trouble, and that they've documented this scientifically. Do you remember, Michelle? He mentioned it yesterday.
Yes, yes.
It was interesting.
Thank you. Thank you. Jim?
Yeah, just that the tree is very important in Norse mythology. I think it's called a Yggdrasil tree. There's all kinds of mythological creatures that live in the tree and so forth. It's an important symbol in their mythology.
Okay, and we have a nice, oh, no, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so oops, it's not right. Okay, we had a quote here from someone. Thoreau said, "Heaven is under our feet as well as over our heads." So, okay. Any other thoughts? Okay. All right.
Well, I did a piece of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life at Cortona School some time ago. And if you want me to show you the slides plus a little video, I could show you that next time.
Yay,
that would
that's
be great.
perfect. Okay, give me 1 minute